Welcome to
Dropbear and Panda.
Save the World.
Episode
82. This is a very different episode than we normally do.
Oh, yes.
Because we are socially distanced to the extreme.
Yes.
So we're doing this over Zoom.
Yeah. I am in quarantine, legit quarantine.
Yeah.
Like have COVID quarantine.
Yeah.
And Michael is hiding out in the studio.
That's right. I've been here for almost a week. I didn't realize how small this studio was. Like I started doing laps.
Yeah.
What's that?
People live in places that size.
Yeah, this reminds me of the place that we rented in New York, where the whole place, bathroom, kitchen included, was about this size.
Yeah, there's New York though, and it probably cost like $1 million to buy. So
yeah, totally.
Hey, my new neighbor.
Oh, I'm not moving in.
What?
They want $5,000 now.
But yeah, so we're distanced. I'm across the city. Jen is across the other side of the city, and we're going to talk more about this later in the show. But we do have some breaking news.
DVP news right now.
Well, it's not really breaking news, but there's this guy named Niraj Gader. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. I hope I am. And he owns a restaurant in the UK, and he sent a samosa into space.
yes.
Like literally sent a samosa into space, which then ended up landing in France afterwards.
It is glorious. And
It's amazing. And it wasn't his first attempt either. Like he really worked on this and perfected the entire, thing. And he had everything from cameras to GPS, and he's very earnest about this.
well, I think it's great because he said, I think the quote was, during this bleak time, we could all use a reason to laugh.
Yeah.
So what better way to make it laugh than send his delicious food up into space?
And now, pigs in space.
What did he say? Like our samosas are out of this world.
We're not lying.
It's so funny. And so I was watching some of the footage, like this video that you had sent me, and it made me think about this guy in Calgary named Daniel Boria. So Daniel Boria, he's got a company called, it's not that we're going to ever use this video, but All Clean Natural. And he came to world acclaim by launching himself in a lawn chair over the Calgary Stampede using helium balloons. And, I was thinking about Daniel when I saw this, and I certainly think that launching samosas is a little less risky.
Yeah, than yourself. Definitely. Yeah. At least if you crash in France, all you do is damage a samosa instead of, your face.
You're right. And like, I don't know how, I didn't see the end of the story to find out how fast those samosas, re-entered orbit.
I don't know
re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, I should say.
I don't know how fast it was, but the GPS malfunctioned once it got really high.
Yeah.
But at the end of the video, it showed how high it got, and you can see the curvature of the Earth.
Oh my God.
Like the video they have in this article is really, really well done. Like they have the video of the Instagram messages and the text messages from the guy in France who found it. Like the whole thing, but the video at the end, how high it got. There's even the GPS showing the samosa going up, past the clouds. And just before he hits, just after he hits the clouds, he's like, there's an airplane. That's pretty close. And then it still kept going farther than that.
Oh my God.
It got far, like impressively high.
Man, well, and that's the thing. So I've talked with Daniel here in town about his adventure, and that was the thing that he got in trouble for is flying a balloon into like the air traffic. Don't do that.
No. Well, I mean, maybe there are different rules in the UK.
Yeah, maybe. It's a lawless land.
Yeah, no kidding. They're like, could be worse. Whatever.
So their Indian restaurant is called Chai Walla. And it's one of the best ranked restaurants in the region, if you believe this article that said there. And they're so cute. Like these guys are just, it's like a little hole in the wall restaurant, which is where the best food comes from. I think it was 3 attempts and then they finally got it up into space.
I thought it was great. I don't know where, like, I think it popped up on I was just searching Google. Yeah. Just for stories, and that popped up. And I think it's like probably the best story I've heard in a really long time.
Yeah, that's so good. So way to go, Niraj.
Yeah. We like it. And if you guys can see that video when we post the news article, that would be great.
Yeah, check it out in the show notes. If you go to dropbearandpanda.tv and look for this episode, number 82, you'll get a link. You get a link to all the stuff.
I think you wanted to mention another food-related news story.
It's, maybe it's the fact that I've been in isolation, living in this little box, that my thoughts are turning to food more and more. But there's this guy, and this was a thing that came out just recently. And okay, the owner is, his name is Feigang Fei, and the restaurant is Aunt Di in Montreal. And he came to the world virally in the best possible way over his honest food menu. So it's a Chinese food restaurant, and each item on his menu is accompanied by a description written by Fei. So his orange beef, he writes, it's not that good, but it's your call. It's just, I don't know. He had this satay beef sauce, and on the menu it says, I didn't have a chance to try it yet. So he's got no idea what it tastes like. But apparently he's been doing it. He's been doing this for years, and it just somebody finally noticed it and decided to put it out into the world. And it's pretty hilarious.
I wonder. So I think they said that like it's become popular, so people are actually showing up. Yeah. But does the article say anything about like how many people are ordering the stuff that he says isn't that good?
Oh, I know it doesn't. Let me just look here. Yeah, Faye just goes on to say that they've seen a boost in orders.
Come here, I'm gonna eat you. I'm bigger than you. I'm higher in the food chain. Get in my belly.
Since people have embraced and I think, it's kind of funny. Like, I know that we would do this probably is we might, just order the stuff that had the interesting description as opposed to the safe description.
We've done that. There was a bar we went to in Lethbridge, remember? The Fringe Festival, because we were performing there. Yeah. And there was a bar, I can't remember what bar it was, but the descriptions of it didn't say like this chicken sandwich is kind of lame, but it was like, this chicken sandwich is so spicy, it's going to kick you in the nuts and not say sorry about it, but you're going to still come back tomorrow for some more nut kicking chicken or something like that.
Yeah, it's so good.
So clearly we would have ordered that like kickin' chicken.
Oh, clearly.
Ball busting, whatever.
Ball busting, chicken kicking. Anyway, I love this. I like when people lean into the truth of their brand and of their stuff, because I just think that the world needs more of that these days.
So I think it's funny that we're talking about food for the news.
Why is that, Panda?
It's a pretty good segue, actually.
I know, yeah.
Considering I can't taste or smell anything.
Oh, Yeah.
So
Okay. So let's just go right into that. Or did you want to split it up and do like the sock rocket and then get into your COVID adventure?
let's do Sock Rocket first, and then I can review COVID.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Can we do that? Let's review COVID-19.
Okay,
My
that sounds
experience
great.
anyway.
I love it.
Just to do that. So take it away. I'm gonna mute because I'm gonna cough a lot right now, and I'm gonna mute myself out for that. So you
All right,
take
do it. Here's Rob Mitchelson in the brand new Sock Rocket jingle. Check them out at sockrocket.ca.
This week on Detective Sock. Detective, every month I receive a new pair of socks. Yes, it would appear that you have been signed up for Sock Rocket's Sock of the Month Club. Another case solved by Detective Sock. Coming up on Detective Sock. Detective, someone is giving away socks to those in need. Indeed, for every pair of Sock Rocket socks you buy, 3 pairs are given away to those who need them. Another case solved by Detective Sock. Later on Detective Sock. These are cool socks. Sock Rocket socks, I deduce. Another case solved by Detective Sock. Tune in next week for another episode of Detective Sock. It doesn't take a detective to figure out why your socks are so cool. Those are Sock Rocket socks.
Okay, so that was different.
That was great. I think he's really leaning into it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that, this is sock life. Socks for life.
Yeah, for sure. Hang on, I gotta let Newton outside. So we can either pause this podcast or you can talk about what you're up to in the studio.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. So basically, while Jen's off letting Newton out, because Newton can't be bothered to be part of this podcast ever, I've been living in this studio for the last week, and it's not been terrible. I've been just keeping to myself, doing my thing, doing my stuff. I got Netflix, I got Prime Video, I got a 3D printer that I'm printing stuff with, so I'm learning while I'm here. There's also a couple of commercial projects that are coming up that we're working on, and I just have a lot of extra time right now just to work on stuff, which is kind of cool. Anyway, that's my review so far. Is I just went in and got a test done today at 8:30 in the morning because even though I don't have symptoms, I was around Jen earlier in the week when she first showed symptoms, and then I took off to the studio, which some people might be like, man, you bastard. But I think it was the responsible thing to do. Anyway, so I've got to wait 2 to 3 days for the results.
Just a quick little interjection here. I got the results within like 7 hours, and it turns out that I'm negative. So now I just have to wait for 14 days to make sure I don't have symptoms and for Jen not to have symptoms. And then it's back to life as normal.
Until then, I'm just literally locked up here, covering myself in, what do you call that shit? The sanitizer. Like I smell like a margarita. And, so anyway, there's that. Over to Panda.
Now it's time for Dropbear and Panda's reviews.
Well, I think I will say, I think that when I started showing symptoms, when I saw you that first evening, we were as responsible as we could be.
Yeah.
I actually masked up at home and stayed away from you, and you slept on the sofa and like separate rooms and the whole thing. So doing our best.
And then I was gone in the morning and I just didn't come back.
And just haven't come back. So yeah, it's been a thing. So as many of you probably know, if you know me personally, and maybe a couple of moments through listening to this podcast, I am a healthcare worker, and I have been very anal with how careful I am with catching or not catching COVID.
Yeah.
Masking, sanitizing, washing hands, not going out, not seeing my family and friends. I think we've been out socially 3 times, or I've been out socially, I think 2 or 3 times in 9 months kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I am working from home like 2 to 3 out of 5 days a week as well, because there have been outbreaks at the Foothills Hospital basically for months, depending on where it is. So I started feeling that I had some allergies on Monday. I was working from home on Monday. My eye was itchy, but my throat was getting kind of gross and too much information, guys, kind of phlegmy and liquidy.
Yeah.
So I took an allergy medicine pill, and it got rid of my itchy eye, but it didn't get rid of anything else. So then I called Dropbear and I said, what do I do? I think this was Tuesday. I can't remember what day. It's all
a blur.
It's all a blur now. And decided that I should go outside and see if my allergy symptoms go away if I'm outside. Because if I'm outside, then I'm not around the cat.
Yeah.
But I got really winded and my lungs were burning by the time I hit the second block around where I was walking. So I called my boss, called her. She told me that I have to obviously get tested, and got a test the next day. Luckily, it was a throat swab instead of the brain.
The brain stab.
Swab. Yeah, throat swab, much better than the brain stab.
I can only imagine. My throat swab, I just gagged.
Yeah, maybe this nurse that I had was just, I don't know, better at it than yours. Maybe yours was just raging that day or something. I don't know.
I just have a gag reflex like nobody's business.
That's true. You gag when you brush your teeth. So, and I went to bed that night, assuming that I would be fine, like assuming my result would be negative. And woke up at 7:30 in the morning because Newton, of course, crawled over my face because that's what cats do.
Yep.
And I checked my phone and I got a text at 10 to 6 that morning on Wednesday. That was an urgent text that said that I was positive.
Eey.
All in caps with like asterisks and
Jesus, you're not going to miss it.
Yeah. So then they were like, you have to call your doctor, you have to call this, you have to do that. People will call you as well. First person I called was you, Dropbear. And I don't think you saw this phone call coming either.
Nope.
Because you answer the phone, you're like, hey, I'm like, ooh. So shocked and very pissed off is how I'm actually still feeling.
Yeah.
I had 3 different calls from Alberta Health Services that morning, anywhere from occupational health and safety to the communicable disease control people through AHS to actual AHS trying to do the tracing.
Yeah.
Had to talk to my doctor, had to talk to my boss. And they have cleared me from passing it on to anyone else at work and probably anywhere else in general. Because you and I only went out twice in public in the last week and we were masked, and one was to get a coffee to go. And the other one was to buy a pillow.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen anybody really at work. The nice thing is about it happening kind of past Christmas is I knew exactly where I was because everything shut down anyway, and I don't see anyone.
Yeah.
I have 2 close contacts and that's about it. But they don't know where I got it from either.
That's weird.
Which is
I guess not weird, but it's weird. It's weird that it can just show up like that. That's the most terrifying thing I think that people need to take away from this.
Yeah. So the assumption is because they had put down that I might be a part of an outbreak on one of the units, but I work on like 5 floors away from where this outbreak is. So I'm thinking it might have been from an elevator.
Yeah.
Someone was in the elevator by themselves. They took their mask off because nobody else was in the elevator with them.
Yeah.
The elevator stopped. They put the mask back on. and I walked in and walked into their plume of droplets.
Ew, ew. Oh, ew.
I mean, that might not be of what happened, but that's the only thing I can think of because, I mean, I'm so anal about not getting COVID that, you know, you haven't been able to see your son.
Yeah.
And I even said before when this whole thing started, I'm like, I'm not trying to be a bitch.
Yeah.
We can't get sick. And you're like, I know. So,
well, so let me ask you, you know, out of the number of pandas, rate your COVID experience so far.
well, I am of average risk.
Yeah.
So I'd say my experience is average. I feel like I have a really bad cold.
Yeah.
But my symptoms change. I tried to do some laundry Wednesday afternoon, and I got winded going up the stairs. So I had to take a break from doing laundry. Yesterday, my whole face was like full, like pressure full of goo.
Ooh.
Today it's like what a virus does. It moves around, right? So today my face doesn't feel like as much pressure, but again, TMI, blew my nose and like a whole pint came out. I swear to God.
Ew, David.
Oh.
So like I've got a lot of fluid in my head, but it's moving around. My throat's not really itchy or sore, but it was a little bit the other day.
Yeah.
The other night, like I thought I was breathing pretty hard when I went to bed, like I was underwater, scuba diving, but I don't feel that today. But I've lost my sense of smell and taste. I lost that yesterday.
Oh, so this means that when we're allowed to sleep together again, I can just fart all I want. I can just fart.
Fart, 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 fart. Every fart is a work of art. Don't know where to begin, don't know where to start. Farts will set you free.
I feel like I've got free range to fart now. Oh, God, the pressure. It's just off my shoulders.
No one can see. Well, he's recording this, so I mean, you could see the face I'm giving him right now. But
yeah, so that happened last night. While you started doing some experimentation.
Yeah. It's funny because like I had brunch because you know you feel like you have a really bad cold, so you don't have much of an appetite. But they ask you if you've lost your appetite, and you're like, well. Yes and no, kind of, but not really. Because, you know, when you feel like shit, you don't really want to eat much, right? So I could taste my bacon and eggs yesterday morning, which was Friday. And then I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself to some DoorDash sushi. Yeah. Got the sushi. It arrived at about 7:30 last night. Couldn't taste it. And I was like, well, sushi doesn't really taste that much, right? I mean, it's not strong flavor. So I took a mouthful of ginger.
Oh, that would do it.
No. I didn't taste it at all. I could feel the tingly in my mouth, but I couldn't taste the ginger. Took some wasabi. Couldn't taste the wasabi, but it still burnt my face. So
maybe that's what released the dam of...
Maybe. But it's weird because like, it's weird to not taste the flavor of something, but to feel the burn.
Yeah.
It's a very odd feeling.
Have you eaten any foods in the last day without flavor that have shocked you with how terrible they are?
I know what you're getting at. Yeah. So I made bacon again today. It was just like jerky. So then I'm like, well, I clearly need to eat something. Yeah. So I chopped up some cucumber and got some little cherry tomatoes.
Yeah.
Cucumber was fine because cucumber doesn't taste very much.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Cherry tomato is just a tiny little ball that tastes like nothing but explodes in your mouth. And it was the worst thing I think I have experienced in a really long time.
Oh, I would just, for whatever reason, have it in my head that it would be like eating a testicle.
Yeah, probably like a little mini, like it was terrible. It was awful. Or like a little eyeball or something.
Oh,
like a kitty eyeball. It was just
Yeah.
like, but no flavor, none.
weird.
Like can't smell. I can't taste my Listerine. I can't smell my deodorant. I can't like nothing.
Wow.
It is so weird. So I made coffee this morning. I'm like, I'm going to make it extra strong because I'm kind of drowsy. And then I was like,
Just hot water.
it's just hot water that I'm drinking that's brown.
Weird.
And then I got a second cup and I'm like, I'm going to put some. And then I'm like, why would I put milk in it? Like it is, if this is the worst that I feel, that's great.
Yeah.
The doctor from the medical clinic that I go to is supposed to call me every 2 days
Yeah.
because people who have gone downhill can go downhill like at the drop of a hat, right?
Wow.
And 2/3 of the people I know who have had COVID have wound up in the hospital. So they clearly take this very seriously.
Yeah.
And so should they write down everything that's happened to me, like all my changes, like even Wednesday night, like I had the shiver shakes,
Yeah.
like, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't cold because I was shaking, but I don't have a temperature, but I didn't feel hot. So it was hard to know whether I had a fever or not, but it was only like an hour.
Yeah.
It wasn't a long time. So I told her everything, but then I told her I wasn't sure whether I was just tripping out or it's actually
Yeah. Well, and that's got to be the hardest part, I think, is letting your mind run wild, with all the possibilities and what's a symptom and what's not. And
the thing is that she still kept me as average. And she said, obviously, if anything changes, call 811 or 911. But she was talking to an 87-year-old man earlier that day that just had the sniffles.
Huh.
And I'm not 87. So, I mean, it hits everyone differently. I have a friend, Catherine, who had COVID in March. Her entire family got it. She was a flight attendant and got it before anyone really knew what it was. And her side effects have been, I mean, I'm not going to go into them because it's her private business, but her side effects have been atrocious.
Yeah.
Like just awful. So if this is the worst that I have, I'm golden, really, but I still wouldn't recommend anyone get it. I feel awful. I feel like shit, and losing your sense of smell and taste is fucking weird.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like really weird. And that will prove to you that I don't have a false positive because
Yep.
there you go.
Crazy.
But the scariest thing is, and I know that most people survive COVID, and I know that a lot of people don't have any lingering effects, but a lot of people do. Calling you first thing in the morning on Thursday morning and being like, it's positive, and still being in shock, but starting to cry because getting a positive result and not knowing what that means.
Yeah.
Does it mean that I'm just going to have the sniffles, or am I going to be intubated?
Yeah.
And lying in a hallway outside the ICU?
Yeah.
And the other thing I'm trying to come to grips with is knowing that, they're reopening parts of Alberta, which, people need to survive. They need to live. And the comments in the comment section are just awful. And knowing that if I actually died from this, that nobody on the internet, and it shouldn't matter because I don't know any of them, but they wouldn't actually care.
Yeah.
And it's just because I was working at the hospital one day where I think I might have walked into an elevator after someone possibly took their mask off to get a breather.
Crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
So I've been having a lot of time at home alone thinking about stuff.
Yeah. I got
it. I don't have to wear a bra now for a while.
Ooh.
I'm not wearing any makeup right now either. So there's some positives with my positive.
Well, I have been enjoying your being positive about positive posts on Facebook, because I think that that's honestly something that you just have to do, right? There's no sense dwelling on the negative and the possibilities and all the blah, blah, blah that goes around it. You have to stay positive and focused on the good things.
And considering it's me, and I can be very doomsday, depressed, terrible, pretty awful. It hasn't been easy, but I will make a note, Michael, that I would enjoy my isolation a lot better if my backyard was a private beach in Costa Rica.
Yeah, that would be better.
Yeah.
So much better.
So I'm just saying.
Well, when we get through this, I will take you on a vacation to Costa Rica and we can shop for condos.
Condos, okay. And what happens if you're positive? You get to come home?
Yeah. I believe so. I got to wait to talk with the doctors and figure all that stuff out. But presumably I can. I think I probably have to, just because I shouldn't be at the studio.
Yeah. Well, you don't see anybody really there. So.
Oh God, no, I don't see anybody. Like literally my door is closed from like 24 hours a day, except when I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm also always wear a mask. I always wash up. I'm sanitizing like before I go, when I go, after I go, on my way back from going.
Yeah.
So I'm being very, very, very careful. But the best I can do is hope that I am negative, and if I'm positive, then I just don't show symptoms. I guess we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really weird because I know that your case could be different from mine, but when I was talking to the people from AHS, I was like, so if Michael's positive, he can come home, which would be terrible if you're positive, because I would feel a lot of guilt and I would feel really bad, and you could get really sick or you could be fine.
Yeah.
But it would also make things in life a lot easier.
Oh yeah. I've been thinking about that a lot. It'd be so much better to like do this side by side as opposed to across the city.
Yeah. If you were negative, then we have to figure out if you're going to live at the studio for 2 weeks or 10 days or 10 days now, or
I think that I would be allowed to come back, not this Monday, but next Monday.
Yeah. Or whether I go to like a COVID hotel for a week.
Yeah.
But then I'd have to clean like this whole house, like all the sheets, all the blankets and everything would have to be cleaned.
Yeah. And then probably hire somebody to come in and do the COVID fogging as well. They do that here at C-Space.
Oh, do they? Yeah. See, I don't even know. But they say that COVID doesn't stay on stuff like blankets and surfaces as much as they did think. So. Yeah,
I don't know. Well, I don't
know. No idea.
One step at a time. And just a note, pardon me, for everybody that just a reminder, I guess, is that truly we're all in this together. And I think Jen, you made a great point about, there's lots of people that are in the comment warriors or the keyboard warriors that, are just saying stupid shit, but it's probably just because they're afraid. The reality is that we are all in this together. We have to do the right thing, put on a mask, sanitize your shit, and look after one another, because that's the only way to get through this.
The funny thing is when I got tested for COVID in March, after we came back from Maui, my cough was way worse. I think. Yeah,
you had a
cough anyway.
Yeah, you had a humdinger.
Yeah.
It's just your annual cold. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Well, are we gonna save the world with some socks?
It's time.
For Dropbear and Panda to save the world.
Yeah, so I think that why don't you go first? Like we've got Sock Rocket, sockrocket.ca. They give us 2 pairs of socks per episode to give away to somebody who's doing good stuff in the world. So where would you like your pair to go?
I want to give my pair to Catherine.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, she's been a great resource, and I'm trying not to be scared, right? Because I don't want to be, you want to be aware of stuff, but you don't want to be afraid and have it run your life. But she's been great at answering any questions I have about COVID, even though our experiences are very different. Yeah. And I couldn't imagine having to go through this in March with my entire family. Yeah. And not have a clue about what's going on. So I want to send Catherine some socks, and I know it's not much, but I think that would be really nice.
I love it. Yeah.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
We'll send those on their way. I would like to send socks to England. I want to send socks to Niraj Gadar at Walla for launching a samosa into space, because I think he did it for all the right reasons. And
I think that would be nice. It made me laugh, that's for sure, and I needed one. So
yeah, and I think we need more of that. Maybe not more samosas in space. Like, I don't know, maybe some paneer next. I don't know, or pakora.
Pakoras might be a little easier, but the aliens are like, I ordered it to go. Where is it? Gotten it yet? Yeah.
Anyway, that's where I'd like to send. I'd like to send some socks from Sock Rocket all the way over to the UK to Niraj.
Well, I think he's a lot easier to hunt down than the surfer from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I got his email address.
What? See, you're magical.
I am magical. I'm like a unicorn.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Anyway, so I sent him an email. I also followed up with a Facebook message, and that was to Mikey Wright, the guy that saved that woman in the Riptide. Yeah. So hopefully he gets back to me with his address, because I only have his email address. So I need to get his actual address so we can send socks to Australia.
Yeah, that would be good. And then we're going to send socks to the UK.
Yeah.
Catherine.
Yeah, just all around the world. Sock Rocket around the world. Plus Sock Rocket, samosa in space. It's like, what?
However, we will note that these socks will not have COVID on it.
That is true.
We'll take care of that.
They will be COVID free.
We might not be sending them off for a while, but
we're also in the process of designing our very own Dropbear and Panda socks through Sock Rocket. Because I don't know whether you know this or not, but you can actually design your own socks, your own funky socks with Sock Rocket.
Yeah.
So that's happening too.
Very exciting.
Anyway, I've been Dropbear.
I've been Panda.
And this has been Dropbear and Panda.
Save the world.
Yay!
This week on Detective Sock. Detective, every month I receive a new pair of socks. Yes, it would appear that you have been signed up for Sock Rocket's Sock of the Month Club. Another case solved by Detective Sock. Coming up on Detective Sock. Detective, someone is giving away socks to those in need. Indeed, for every pair of Sock Rocket socks you buy, 3 pairs are given away to those who need them. Another case solved by Detective Sock. Later on Detective Sock. These are cool socks. Sock Rocket socks, I deduce. Another case solved by Detective Sock. Tune in next week for another episode of Detective Sock. It doesn't take a detective to figure out why your socks are so cool. Those are Sock Rocket socks.
Huge thanks to our sponsor, Sock Rocket, at sockrocket.ca.
This podcast was recorded at the Dropbear and Panda studio at Sea Space King Edward.
Special thanks to Emre Cords for the kick-ass theme music.
Yo.
Don't forget to subscribe.
It's Dropbear and Panda, yeah. Yo. It's Dropbear and Panda, yeah. Dropbear angles, tangles, you get tangled. Twisted side reflexes, child should be. Can't compete with the owls that devour. Yeah, with the owls that devour, yeah. Yeah, it's a Dropbear and Panda coming at you right now. Dropbear and Panda coming at you right now. Dropbear and Panda coming at you right now. It's like a locomotive filled with autonomous chopper. Dropbear and Panda coming at you right now. It's like a locomotive filled with autonomous chopper. Dropbear and Panda.